Hey, welcome back. This is EC's EDC, and today we're taking a look at yet again another EVERGOODS bag, the MPL22. The Mountain Panel Loader 22 is a relatively newer bag that EVERGOODS released. It is comprised of a 420 nylon shell, their solution dyed fabric in the black variant. And it is one of the most versatile bags that EVERGOODS offers. EVERGOODS really goes for that crossover functionality, and with this bag I think they're doing the best they've done yet in order to provide functionality for EDC, travel, or even out in the outdoors. So with that said, let's take a look. So the EVERGOODS MPL22 has some similarities to its bigger brother, the MPL30. That is obviously a much larger backpack, and this one really nicely puts itself into the middle of the lineup in terms of size. It gives you a really slim, I think, attractive silhouette. You get a lot of great quick access pockets here between this top zipper, this front panel dump pocket. Reminds me a lot of the Panel Loader Classic 20 with this dump pocket here in the front. You get the signature EVERGOODS bottle pockets or side pockets. These things are really tremendous and swallow up just about everything. I mean, you can see this Nalgene is totally hidden right now. But yeah, this is a really cool and unique backpack. So I think it's going to fit a lot of people and a lot of different use cases. But it does have its trade-offs. So we'll dive in, we'll talk about it, and we'll figure out, if this is potentially a good bag for you or if you do have a purpose for this bag at all. So again, 420D, solution dyed, PU coated shell. And EVERGOODS has their signature little nylon zipper pulls here. I've switched the black ones this came with some coyote, just to switch it up, get a little pizzazz, thrown on a matching patch here in that coyote accent right here. Like I mentioned, we've got two side bottle pockets. These are sized to fit a Nalgene bottle. What's cool about the bottle pockets, and this is all across the EVERGOODS line, they have a small cutout at the bottom in the corner that's going to allow debris to work its way out. Debris, water, whatever small items make its way in here, they're not just going to get clogged up in the corner. You're not going to have a lint or a dirt ball growing. This will allow for your bag to stay a little cleaner as you put it through its paces and potentially take this outdoors. So these are awesome. One of my favorite things that EVERGOODS does is adding these really tremendous bottle pockets to their bag. Now on the front of the bag, we've got two larger pockets. The top pocket here goes the entire length of this front panel. You can also see here, very subtly, that the fabric is slightly overlapping. It's almost like a gusset, and this allows the fabric to grow and expand to larger objects that you're going to undoubtedly stuff into this front pocket. So because this is a crossover bag, the Mountain Panel Loader, I've got this packed out for a day hike scenario. Maybe just a casual hike through the woods in town, or perhaps doing a summit at a local mountain. this is, you know, some things that I'd be carrying on an all-day hike. So in this front pocket, I have got I think this is the large topo pouch. And in here, I just keep a pair of fleece gloves and a beanie. That way, when I go to look for it, you know, I'm not just finding one glove and the other glove's worked its way to another part of the bag. These keep it nice and consolidated. Helps me when I'm in a pinch and I'm looking for those. I also keep with me a really small, lightweight sit pad. For breaks or when you get to the summit and you just want to sit down for a few minutes. Sometimes it's cold, even in the fall or the spring when you get to the top of the mountain. And this keeps my bum warm. So that's really all I've got in here. And you can see that, you know, this will grow pretty substantially depending on what you're going to put in there. This is also a great place for a rain shell. It also fits the Cap 1 really nicely. And actually, while we're looking at this front pocket, I have a shell that I keep with me. I keep it inside the bag, but this Fjallraven shell, just it fits in there great. And it's a bit of a thicker shell. It's not something I would use in the summer, definitely for slightly cooler months. But once that shell is in there, you can see how it really does just take up the extra bit of volume that the pocket and the stitching and the patterning on this exterior pocket offers you. So it is quite large and it will accommodate a number of things, including, you know, some larger jackets. But I just keep a couple small things there. And the reason for that is because I think it creates a cleaner silhouette, and overall the items that I keep in the bag are more generally dispersed. They're not kind of clumped up here in the back. It doesn't feel like it protrudes further from my back that way, and just kind of how I like it. So that is the front pocket, the main front pocket. The next one we're going to take a look at is the top front pocket. And this is also a fairly large pocket. It takes up this entire space, both above and below. In an EVERGOODS fashion, you know, each one of these pockets has its own dimension. So you're going to have plenty of space to store your items in each of these. I've got a wallet, pack of gum, hero clip, notebook. There is a lanyard in here where I've got my keys attached. And then I've got just a kind of cooling cloth for, you know, when it's warm or perhaps in the summer. Douse that with water and it'll keep you very, very cool and refreshed. But this pocket, this is a really incredible pocket. Great quick access pocket. This will be probably one of your primary quick access pockets if you do use this bag for you know, your everyday or your work or your day-to-day loadout. The two of these here on the front. So after looking at these two pockets, you've got your two bottle pockets again, and then you have your top handle. And your top handle is the same one you're going to see across the bags. The difference here with this top handle is it's not partnered with a side handle. The MPL30 does have that side handle. It makes it really nice to hold. With this 22-liter bag, the smaller version, you're just going to have this top one. And again, like the other bags, you do still have your two little webbing loops on the side for you to lash your gear to, which you'll find likely helpful with this mountain panel loader. And then on the front of the bag, or I'm sorry, the back of the bag, we've got EVERGOODS current back panel with the monofilament and the 3D spacer mesh. This breathes pretty well. I find that all my bags from EVERGOODS work great in the summer. I will say though, this, it's a crossover bag. You can take it hiking like you can all their bags. They're made for that multifunctional utility. You're still gonna sweat. You take this out in the summer, you're gonna sweat with pretty much every bag, this one, included, but it does a pretty good job. If you're thinking like, oh, dedicated hiking bag, I might recommend you look in a different direction. It's going to do great, but this will serve more purposes besides hiking, and I think you're gonna find better bang for buck, especially in terms of breathability on the back panel, in a more dedicated hiking bag, such as the Osprey Talon or the Manta. Those are two bags that I've owned and used in the past, and they work great. They're fantastic on the back, and they fit really well and they're very streamlined. So as a crossover bag, EVERGOODS does it well, but in terms of a dedicated hiking bag, I think you can find some other bags to compete with this really well. Now on the straps, we've got, very similar straps you're going to see across EVERGOODS bags. The main difference here is it's a little thinner and a little bit more narrow. It's made to be a 22-liter bag. You're taking it hiking. You're not going to really have this thing stuffed to its capacity. It's not going to be 30 pounds heavy, I hope. So these thinner straps are going to accommodate the lighter loads. And with the thinner straps, you can feel, when the bag's not heavy, it's super comfortable. I really like the straps on this particular bag, and I think that comfort is also attributed to the foam frame sheet, which is in here. And we'll take a look at that when we get into the bag. Instead of having a plastic frame sheet, this foam frame sheet makes the bag immensely comfortable. So we still have the daisy chain on the lower part of the shoulder strap, which is where EVERGOODS sternum strap attaches to. These are reversible, removable, and I have blocking the other sternum strap, or the other side of the sternum strap. I have a Matador, I think it's called a speed pouch, but I typically keep my phone in here when I'm hiking, so it's out of my pockets. And if I'm doing, a big day hike, I'll keep some small snacks right here or inside the pouch, so it's easily accessible. I prefer to keep my pockets empty, and it's just a nice little Velcro pouch that goes right on top, and you don't even notice it, so pretty cool little thing. Now at the bottom of the straps, in typical EVERGOODS fashion, we do not have any strap keepers. Bit of a bummer. Really always looking to have something to keep these tidy, but maybe we'll see that in a future iteration of their product. And lastly, down here, you can see this small nylon fabric on both of the wings that come out at the bottom of the strap. This is where you're going to insert a tri-glide, and that tri-glide will transform into a waist belt. We'll take a look at that. I keep that stowed inside, but that is your back panel. All right, so actually, before we open this up, it may be tough to see. Actually, I keep a walkie-talkie if I'm doing a summit, so that's in this other bottle pocket. But when there's nothing in the bottle pocket, you can see that this tapers in pretty well. And the zipper track also tapers in even more. So this zipper line really comes more inwards on the front of the bag, which is great. I think it gives, it gives use for these bottle pockets. I'm not sure they could have done it another way, getting that 1 liter bottle pocket in here. But I wanted to note that because, like the Mountain Panel Loader 30, they're both tapered. All right. So this is just what the inside of the bag looks like. with the few things that I've gotten here for, you know, a hike or a quick summit. I have that shell, so this is that larger, sort of thicker Fjallraven shell to break the wind or keep me dry in case it starts to rain. But I also bring a first aid kit with me when I'm out in the woods. It's pretty lightweight, looks a little bulky, but it's, you know, it's mostly some pretty lightweight goods. It's a very basic first aid kit, you know, something just to keep you alive. Maybe I'll do a review on this on its own, but this is in the bag. I've got a small garage built gear pouch, and this holds, you know, my multi-tool and a flashlight and a notebook. And then at the bottom of my bag, I keep a cap too, which organizes some things I don't expect to need, but I bring them with me just in case. This really doesn't weigh too much, and you know, the cap too helps organize so they're not just falling around the bag. But in here I've got some carabiners, I've got a small pair of binoculars, a pair of headlamps, we've got a small amount of paracord, we've got another multi-tool, a couple lighters, zip ties, just some basic things that, you know, might come in handy if you're out in the wilderness and, you know, it's not the ideal day. Now with those removed, we can see the internal components of the MPL22. We have a stretch mesh slip pocket here. This has elastic at the top. It is double lined. And this does fit a 16-inch laptop. It's super tight, but it does fit. I'm gonna go through a few different options so you can see hiking, EDC, as well as potentially a travel scenario with this. And that's really all you got going on in here. You do have a nylon loop here at the top where you can throw in a water bladder, right? So if you were to use this for hiking, your water bladder could get stowed here. You would need to find a way to tether these together. Piece of paracord will easily connect. And your bladder, your hose bladder, I talk about these all the time, but here we're actually going to see it. The hose bladder passes right through the inside of the top of the strap here, and it just pops right out. So you can sort of keep it tucked, send the hose back in when you're not using it, and just pull it out when you need. I have noticed though, when you do that and the bag is full, there's a bit of tension here, and it doesn't always move freely, but it is a nice feature to have. So that's our little nylon loop for the bladder. And then the last thing to make mention of here inside the bag is we have this hook and loop that, when opened, exposes the foam frame sheet. This foam frame sheet is, in my opinion, probably what's going to give this bag its wonderful comfort. Some of the other bags, all the other bags, have the plastic frame sheet, and that will tend to be more rigid. It'll give the bag a more direct shape. This allows the bag to really contour to the stuff you put inside, but also to your body really well. So the foam frame sheet for the win on the MPL22. And then on the inside of the panel, we have that traditional mesh pocket. We see this across many bags. It is see-through. You can leverage this for a number of different things. With the full clamshell zipper, this is very handy, especially on side access. So you could put, you know, snacks in here. You know, you could fit a cap 1 in there if it's not super big like mine. Maybe a small layer of clothing. And then up here at the top, we've got the opaque pocket. And the opaque pocket is adorned with that patch EVERGOODS places here that says a little bit about the bag, the shell material, the lining, and inside here, you know, you can put whatever you'd like, but this is where I keep the hip belt. And the hip belt is a nice addition. It's awesome that this comes with the bag for free. You don't need to buy it. And these are the tri-glides that are attached at the end. So if we flip the bag over, you know, your hip belt's going to go here, but these tri-glides, they get inserted into this small bit of webbing, and they then catch on it, securing this end of the hip belt. And so you would just repeat that process over here, and boom, you've got a removable hip belt. And with the sternum strap and the hip belt, this bag comes in at 1 pound and 14 ounces. So you drop this, you drop the plastic, you drop, I mean, I would keep the sternum strap, but you got a pretty light, very versatile bag. So it's nice that EVERGOODS includes this with the purchase, and you know, they don't make you pay for it separately. But that is our travel scenario, and now what we're going to do is we're going to switch gears and we're going to take a look at this bag in an everyday loadout. So stay tuned. All right, I just moved some stuff around. We got our hiking stuff here. You can ignore this mess, but we have the MPL22 now set up so it's in what could be a resemblance of an everyday carry loadout. So on the side we have a Camelback water bottle. Fits in here no problem. Obviously if it's fitting a Nalgene, it's going to swallow your smaller bottles. In the front pocket I keep a Urban Myth zip pouch, and in here I just keep, you know, a few snacks for the day-to-day, and really that's all I throw in here. My Cap 1's a little heavy. This is a great place for the Cap 1, but I don't keep it in here because I find that it gives the bag kind of an odd shape from the exterior that I'm not a fan of. And up here, this, you know, this is the same, you know, minus this thing. All this stuff is going to come to work with me. Gum, wallet, small notebook, hero clip, card keys, and a pen. So this is the catch-all for the random stuff that I'll need throughout my day. And into the main compartment we go. So I bring a rain jacket with me most days just to be safe. So that's in here, just so it stays out of the way, it doesn't catch on anything. I have a half cap for my work badge. I keep a pocket knife in here, a small flashlight, some odds and ends, flash drives, small flash drives, and things like that. Here is the Cap 1. And this is my daily tech. So my office has a laptop charger there. I don't need to bring one to and from, so I've just got a small power bank, some cables, and some extra headphones in here just to get me through the day. Over-the-ear headphones, of course. And then I am forced with the MPL22 to either let these things kind of float around in the bag or put them behind this stretch pocket. And of course, I'm going to tuck them in the stretch pocket, right? This is going to act as your laptop sleeve. For me, it's going to do laptop, notebook, and tablet. and you're wondering, you know, what size this is. This is a 14-inch MacBook Pro. That fits in there very good. Actually, a little bit of extra side-to-side play at the top, but it's snug at the bottom because of, again, the bag's taper. And I'm sure you're wondering, it does fit a 16-inch MacBook Pro, but it's tight. It is, you know, it's a forced fit, but it does fit. One thing to mention, when you're putting a 16-inch MacBook Pro in here, all right, if you were to imagine this is zipped up, your machine it's right here. It's not protected at all. You're just sitting here with the 2 layers of fabric, and you know, if you catch a wall or a doorway, you know, your machine's a little exposed. So just keep that in mind if you're planning on bringing a machine this big. And anything bigger than a MacBook Pro 16-inch is not going to fit. It will have to just sit in here, and you'll probably want to think about a dedicated laptop sleeve to keep the machine in. So I've used this a few times for work. I don't prefer it because this will stretch out. I've already actually seen the effects of using this. This is getting a little worn, and it's becoming a little baggy. But when there are contents inside, this pocket does a pretty good job of keeping everything secure. It doesn't really move around much, and it all settles in once you've got it on your back. But just keep that in mind. It's not a formal laptop sleeve like you've got on the MPL, or I'm sorry, like the CPL or the CHZ bags. It's definitely not what you're going to see on the CTB 20, you know, the CTB or the CPL bags either. So crossover, right? This is like full utility. You're going to take this thing in the woods. This is going to be a good bag for travel, and it also can function as a daily backpack. So food for thought for you. Flip this around. So again, I don't have anything in here right now in this mesh pocket. I keep a couple small pouches with me throughout my day-to-day, and I've got a small Urban Myth. This serves as another catch-all, business cards, AirTag, small amount of cash, and this is just a little personal first aid kit. And those fit real great right at the top of the bag. And that's your loadout. So, you know, it works for everyday carry. What I've gotten here is not a heavy amount of stuff by any means, and the bag's super comfortable. The one thing I will say, and you know, I think this pertains to everyday carry probably more than it does to hiking, at least in my case. You know, we'll take this out for a minute. When the bag is not fully filled, it can be a little floppy. I don't know. This 420D, which is a great material, doesn't hold its shape well on its own. Now they do offer this in an EcoPack version, which is going to be a more robust shell, and it will probably provide you a little bit more structure, as well as weather resistance. So if you're really looking for that utility, kind of do it all, maybe the EcoPack is better because A, you're going to have better water resistance, and B, it will look a little better when it's not really using the full capacity and volume of the bag. But yeah, that's a quick everyday carry scenario for you. And now what I'm going to do is just switch gears and put some packing cubes in here, and we'll take a look to see what fits and what doesn't. So, see you in a second. Okay, so we are back. I didn't pack it out. I'm just going to show you what fits. We'll zip stuff up, and we'll see how full the bag looks with a few different packing cube options in here. So what we're working with is an EVERGOODS travel packing cube. We have a Peak Design small packing cube, a larger Peak Design packing cube, and I've got a DOP kit, which is, I think, pretty decent size. It's not minimalist, but it's, I'd say, probably on the average size for most folks. This is the Travel Kit 2 from Air. Now, this bag, it is tapered. I've mentioned that a few times. And I didn't think this big packing cube was going to fit in here. And you can see when I lay down that front panel, you know, the sides really do just engulf the bag, or engulf that packing cube. So looking inwards, it fits, no problem. We've got a good amount of space here up top, and there is still quite enough room in there. So if I was going to bring a pair of headphones, maybe going on a flight, that fits right in the front, down in the main compartment. I could even, you know what I would probably do? Probably do the, yeah, we'll do the DOP kit down at the bottom, and then that gives me a place to throw some tech, a pair of headphones, and zip this puppy up. So this is what, I'll take this off. This is what your bag's going to look like with the large Peak Design packing cube. Currently, nothing in here. You can still go to town. In fact, let's throw that cap 1 in the front of the bag, just so you know, because I said it fits. And that cap 1's going to really fill out the volume in that front pocket and give it that rounder, fuller looking shape. So here's your side profile. Back to the front. And you can see it's a little bulgy, right? That foam frame sheet is expanding to whatever's on the inside of the bag. You're going to feel that roundness on your back. But it is pretty comfy. So the only concern I would mention using this for travel is you're going to put more stuff in here. You're putting days of clothes potentially. Maybe you're even trying to get a laptop in there. This is going to be a slightly heavier bag at that point, and your straps, which are a little more narrow and a little bit thinner than you're going to see on the rest of the bags, they won't handle that weight over a long period of time well. You're going to start to feel that on your shoulders. So keep that in mind. But otherwise, if you're not really throwing a lot of weight in here, that's not going to be an issue. So big packing cube, no problem. EVERGOODS packing cube. This fits great down at the bottom like this. They designed the ecosystem to fit in all the bags. But personally, I like to keep them vertically, and then I throw my DOP kit right next to it. And it feels to me like I'm getting the most out of the bag in this way, because I can still put something on top, something small, and then I still have all of this space here at the front of the bag. So that is your EVERGOODS packing cube here. And again, that does fit down here, no problem. That zips right up. But I feel that, when you do it like this, you're left with a little bit less space up top. But you do have a little bit more space for the bottle pockets, or using these side pockets for other things. So you'll have to play around with what works for you. But this is how I like to do it. And I will throw in my headphones. And why not? We'll throw in the half cap. So there you got it. MPL22, really great crossover bag, very versatile. It's going to hit a lot of boxes from outdoor usage, daily carry, bringing it to work, dad bag. I think this is going to be good for dad bags, great place for diapers, and a lot of quick access pockets. And then of course, it's going to do well in the woods and hiking. So after all of that, pros and cons of this bag. So we'll go through the cons first, and then we'll touch on, the really good aspects of the bag. So first one, there's no dedicated laptop sleeve. You get that internal expandable mesh pocket to contain your stuff, but it's not protective. It's just a very thin layer of fabric. It is suspended, but it is not protective. Second thing, straps, narrow and thin. Not a bad thing. I think it makes sense for this bag, but I'll put it as a con just because if you're using it across multiple disciplines, there will be times when you're going to have more things in the bag, and the thin strap's going to end up being a pain point. It can look a little frumpy or floppy, or a little bit, I don't know. It doesn't drape super well when it's empty. It has looked nice, but overall I think it looks best when this pocket's filled, there's some, some contents pushing out the shell outwards, but it's very versatile. And then the last two things to mention is it's not a full-fledged hiking bag. It's not supposed to be, but it isn't that. So if you're looking for this to be your hiking bag, I'd look somewhere else. Check out something more dedicated. This is crossover. And then the very last thing to mention is that the bag does not stand up on its own. You can get it to stand up with the right contents at the bottom, but the back of the bag here extends further. See if we can see this. Extends further than the back of the front. So it's always going to roll this way. Some of you folks might say that's non-negotiable, but for me, I don't mind. So the pros at the very end here, we've got great solution dyed material. I really like the 420. If you're looking for something more durable, I would say check out the EcoPack version. Next thing up, this thing is versatile. This is going to do work across the platform. Hiking, travel, everyday carry, daily needs, throw it in the car, you're going to the beach, whatever it is, this bag is going to do it really well. It's going to shed off your dirt. It's going to shed off hair. It stays super clean. And when it does get dirty, just a washcloth, some warm water, and pretty much everything comes right off. It's super comfortable. Super, super comfortable. And that's probably the biggest pro, excuse me. That foam frame sheet just really doing a number on the comfort level. Dual side pockets, it's a great feature. You'd expect that on a hiking bag, for quick access, stowing a pair of gloves, putting a bottle in there, but those are awesome. And then the last thing to mention, they rate this as a 22-liter bag. I would argue it's more than that. It's probably at least 24 liters, maybe 26. If you're really using all the pockets and stuffing it smartly, you're going to get quite a lot of stuff into this bag, which helps it punch above its weight class even more. So, it's standing for now. So thanks for tuning in. Again, this is ECDDC. This is the MPL22. Take care, stay good, and I'll see you in the next one.